taking responsibility for our emotions and actions. Stoicism challenges us to look inward, to examine our own judgments and impulses. It's about recognizing that while we can't control others, we have complete control over how we respond to them. This is where true relationship power lies, not in blaming, but in owning our emotional reactions. Get ready to stop blaming and start building stronger, more fulfilling connections through the wisdom of Stoicism, our topic for today's video. The first way we can improve ourselves is by taking full ownership of our reactions. Let's start with an example. When your partner does something like leave a box on the floor for the third time this week, your first thought is usually frustration. They don't respect me. Within seconds, the box has become evidence of deeper relationship problems. This reaction feels justified, even inevitable. Your partner's offenses aren't making you angry by themselves, since they're just things on the floor. But before you dismiss this as oversimplification, consider what's really happening here. Stoicism is about understanding your emotional responses and choosing how to act on them. Think of it like sitting in traffic. You can blast the horn and scream at the windshield, but it won't make the cars move faster. It'll just stress you out and possibly earn you a ticket. Your anger is a response, but it's a response you control. This is the core of Stoic relationship wisdom, recognizing the difference between what you can control and what you cannot. You cannot control your partner's cleanliness habits completely. You cannot control their thoughts, their feelings, or their actions. You cannot force them to understand you, remember important things, and meet your expectations. Trying to control these external factors is like attempting to hold water in your hands. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips away. It's frustrating, exhausting, and ultimately destroys trust. But here's where the real power lies. You control your own thoughts, your own actions, your own reactions. This is your inner fortress, your domain, and it's where Stoicism tells us to focus our energy. So in this case, you could focus on the important things you want out of this situation. For example, if messiness is your concern, then you'd want the floor to stay clean. You can make it a priority. You can even leave if you're ignored. But first, you must communicate, and then you can act. Picture another scenario. Your partner, or maybe even a potential date, says something hurtful. What do? Do you immediately lash out? Do you spiral into self-doubt? Those are reactions, and those reactions are your choice. You can't stop them from saying it, but you absolutely control how you respond. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your opinion of it, and you have the power to revoke this at any moment. It's not the event that causes the pain, it's our judgment of the event, and we have the power to change that judgment. We can choose how to interpret situations, choose our responses, and ultimately protect ourselves from unnecessary suffering. We can see this in some of our smaller, less consequential reactions. Ever notice how one small comment can ruin your entire day? Or how the exact same situation can send you spiraling one time and barely register the next? The difference isn't in the comment or situation. It's in you. We tend to think our emotions are involuntary reflexes triggered by the outside world. Someone says something mean, and we feel hurt. End of story. But Stoicism challenges this narrative. That hurt isn't automatic. It's chosen. Consider someone criticizing their partner's cooking. One person might burst into tears, feeling personally attacked and questioning their entire self-worth. Another might shrug it off, thinking, maybe I added too much salt this time. I'll try again. Same comment, completely different reactions. The difference is the judgment they applied to that comment. The first person interpreted it as a reflection of their value as a person. The second person saw it as feedback about food. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." It's all about perception. You control the narrative. You decide what things mean. That critical comment only stings if you let it sting, if you choose to interpret it as personal failure. This is crucial for relationships because so many conflicts arise not from what happened, but from the stories we tell ourselves about what happened. When you're upset, absolutely livid, that well-worn script starts playing. If they just listened, if they just understood, if they cared. It's tempting to pinpoint your partner as the cause of your misery. We build elaborate cases against them, convinced that if we could just change them, our relationship would be perfect. Marcus Aurelius knew this struggle. He wrote, "Today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, and other bad qualities, all due to other people's ignorance of what is good and evil." He's not excusing bad behavior, which he punished himself as a Roman emperor. He is saying he holds himself to a higher standard. Other people can be bad if they want to, but Marcus Aurelius will be better. He's also bringing our attention to something profound. Everyone, including your partner, operates from their own internal compass, their own flawed understanding of the world. Their actions reflect their internal state, not necessarily a deliberate attack on you. You can't force someone to understand you. You can't command them to feel a certain way. You can't threaten them into being the perfect partner. The harder you try to control, the more resistance you'll meet. We jump to conclusions fueled by our own anxieties and create problems where none may exist. The narrative we create, based on assumptions of malicious intent, becomes the actual problem. To understand this, we must first look at how the Stoics understood emotion. And to start, we need to address a word that's often misunderstood: apatheia. Think of apatheia as freedom. Freedom from the destructive power of the emotions. Consider those moments when emotions completely hijack your brain. That blinding rage that makes you say things you instantly regret. That crippling fear that prevents you from being vulnerable and truly connecting. Those are the enemies, emotionally speaking. Those are the destructive passions that Stoicism helps you conquer. The Stoic path is about understanding why you feel what you feel and learning to manage those emotions so they don't control you. Think of yourself as the CEO of your emotional life. You wouldn't let a rogue employee make terrible decisions that bankrupt the company. Same principle applies here. You acknowledge emotions, understand them, but don't let them dictate your actions, especially in relationships. This creates emotional equilibrium, like being the eye of a hurricane. Chaos swirls around you, but you remain calm, centered, and able to make rational decisions. To find that equilibrium, however, you'll need to find your triggers. In your relationships, these are the signs pointing directly at areas where you need to grow. What makes your blood boil? Think about that, and then think about how to improve on that. Now, you might be tempted to blame other people for making you angry, but Stoicism challenges this narrative. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." That overflowing sink is your emotional dumbbell. The interruption is your patience push-up. This doesn't mean all behavior is acceptable. In modern life, boundaries are crucial, but Stoicism forces you to ask, why does this particular thing set me off so much? Is it the mess itself, or feeling unappreciated? Is it the interruption, or fear that what you have to say isn't important? This shifts the focus from changing external things to understanding internal things, like yourself. That's where the real power lies. Start recognizing patterns. Keep a mental note of what consistently pushes your buttons. Don't just say, "I'm annoyed." Dig deeper. What's the root cause? What unmet need or insecurity lurks beneath the surface? So, for example, if you were mad about dirty dishes, ask yourself, is it really about the dishes? Or is it about feeling unheard, unappreciated, maybe controlled? You're taking control, not letting uncontrolled emotion run the show. One Stoic solution for this is to use the pause, the gap, the moment of reflection before reaction. In the heat of the moment, pausing feels impossible, like you're just going to explode anyway. But now you're holding it inside, making it worse. But that's the illusion. Instead of suppressing emotion, you're pausing to observe it. Think of watching a movie. You can get swept up in the drama, yell at the screen, and throw popcorn. Or you can step back. Remember, it's just a movie, and appreciate the story without losing your cool. How do you actually implement this pause? Mindfulness is essential. Even a few deep breaths can create crucial space. Inhale, feel the anger or frustration. Exhale, and acknowledge it without judgment. Try a quick mental reframe. Instead of, "They always do this to me," try, "Okay, this is happening. What's the best way to handle this calmly and constructively?" That shift in perspective makes all the difference. You'll avoid impulsive reactions you later regret. You'll choose responses based on reason, not raw emotion. And you'll communicate your needs in ways that actually get heard. As a framework, consider using the classic Stoic emotions: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Wisdom is more than knowledge. It's about understanding your partner's needs, your own triggers, and the unspoken dynamics at play. This helps you cut through noise and see truth, even when uncomfortable. And relationships are full of uncomfortable truths. When a coworker is late and you get angry, for example, wisdom asks, is it really about disrespect? Or are you tired, stressed, and hungry? Wisdom means challenging your knee-jerk assumptions. Most of the time, our initial judgments aren't valid. We fill in blanks with our own narratives, often negative ones. Next is justice. Justice isn't about settling scores or keeping a mental ledger of wrongs. It's about fairness, integrity, and treating your partner with respect, even during disagreements. Think about your last argument. Were you striving for fair resolution, or just trying to win? Justice means fighting for the relationship, not against your partner. It requires honesty, even when difficult. Those small white lies that seem kind in the moment, saying you did something when you didn't, agreeing when you disagree, slowly erode trust. Short-term comfort leads to long-term destruction. Justice also means refusing to participate in manipulation or gaslighting. These tactics might feel satisfying momentarily, but they poison relationships from within. Then there's courage. Courage isn't rescuing people from burning buildings, though it includes that. In relationships, it's having the guts to admit when you're wrong. It's confronting difficult conversations instead of sweeping them under the rug. The flip side of this is avoidance, which is relationship kryptonite. Many relationships suffer because partners avoid conflict, allowing resentment to build like pressure in a sealed container. Eventually, it explodes. Instead of waiting for that outcome, use temperance. Temperance is about balance, self-control, and avoiding extremes. It's not letting emotions dictate actions. Think about that knee-jerk reaction that feels good in the moment, but explodes in your face 5 minutes later. When your partner says something insensitive, temperance creates space between stimulus and response. Instead of snapping back with a stinging retort, you pause. Ask yourself, will this reaction actually solve anything, or just escalate conflict? Try radical empathy instead. Take a deep breath and then say, "That comment seems unfair. Can we talk about why you said that?" You're addressing the issue without attacking the person. You're steering the ship, not letting the storm dictate your course. Temperance also applies to expectations. Are you constantly demanding your partner meet unrealistic standards? Are you clinging to an idealized version of them that doesn't exist? Stoicism teaches us to accept what we cannot change, and you should be realistic about what can be changed. True understanding isn't about nodding along and pretending you get it. It's about empathy, combined with clear-eyed assessment. Everyone has flaws. Acknowledging your flaws disarms people and can be useful in relationship. I know I can be a hothead sometimes, and I'm working on it. Try to meet people halfway. For complex issues you argue about repeatedly, wisdom provides clarity to see past surface level. Stop focusing on what you're arguing about and start focusing on why. Is it a power struggle? Unmet expectations? Fear of abandonment? Stoicism provides tools to excavate these hidden anxieties, bring them into light, and address them rationally, calmly, to act, not react, in ways that build connection, not resentment. Your partner messed up, betrayed your trust, hurt your feelings. Your gut reaction is probably unleashing justified anger, maybe plotting revenge. Totally human. But Stoic forgiveness isn't about condoning bad behavior or being a doormat. It's about protecting yourself. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It festers inside you, consuming energy, clouding judgment, and making you miserable. Your partner might be living their best life while you're stuck replaying hurt on endless loop. Who's really winning? Seneca said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." You can't move forward chained to the past, shackled by anger. It may be time to forgive and move on. It's not easy. It's probably the hardest thing you'll do in a relationship. But Stoicism isn't about easy. It's about effective. It's cultivating inner strength to choose your response, rise above situations, and prioritize your well-being. Sometimes that means forgiveness. Other times, that means separation. And many times, that means setting boundaries. Boundaries is a relationship word that everyone loves to hate. We're told we need them, but actually, setting them feels like walking on eggshells. Suddenly, You're the bad guy for prioritizing your sanity. But here's the Stoic perspective. Boundaries are there to prevent messiness. Think of them as internal guardrails protecting your emotional landscape. Epictetus asked, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" How often do we settle? We compromise, appease, let little things slide, and then resentment builds like a dam about to burst. Saying no is hard. We're conditioned to be agreeable, accommodating. But Stoicism teaches that virtue lies in reason, not people-pleasing. Saying no to something that drains you is actually saying yes to your well-being and to the relationship long-term, because resentment erodes love faster than almost anything. Think of emotional energy as finite. You only have so much to give. Spending it all on toxic interactions, drama, and constantly putting out fires leaves nothing for people and things that truly matter, including yourself. You have to put yourself first when no one else will. Relationships change. People grow apart. Life is a river. Stoicism says, focus on what you can control. You can't control whether someone stays, but you can control how you act today. You can control how you treat them, how you listen, how you show up as your best self. Imagine no longer being a prisoner of expectation, desperately clinging to static relationship images. Instead, you become an agile surfer, riding waves of change with grace and resilience. You appreciate sunshine while it's here and prepare for storms when they come. Every ending, shift, transformation offers opportunity for growth, deeper understanding, new beginnings. As Seneca said, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Embrace the flow. Find contentment amid uncertainty. The present moment, with all its fleeting beauty, is the only moment that truly matters. Stoic relationship principles require consistent practice. Daily reflection helps identify patterns in reactions and responses. Mindfulness keeps you present rather than lost in anxious future projections or resentful past rehearsals. It's not just for Zen masters. It's about becoming aware of emotional landmines in daily life. Those things your partner does that always set you off. That eye roll, that tone, whatever it is. Mindfulness isn't about stopping reactions initially. It's about noticing them before you explode. Furthermore, regular self-examination helps catch triggers before they overwhelm you. You begin noticing early signs of anger, jealousy, or fear, giving more opportunities to choose responses consciously. You become the observer of your internal drama. You create space between stimulus and response. That's where real power lies. Stoicism doesn't promise to eliminate relationship challenges. It offers tools for navigating them with wisdom, integrity, and grace. By focusing on what you can control and accepting what you cannot, you create space for genuine intimacy and connection. You can feel deeply while responding wisely. Love fully while maintaining your center. Commit completely while accepting impermanence. This approach to relationships, rooted in ancient wisdom but applicable to modern challenges, offers a path toward deeper connection, greater resilience, and lasting fulfillment. The work is demanding. It requires daily practice, honest self-examination, and courage to change ingrained patterns. But the rewards are profound. When you master yourself, you create conditions for love to flourish. The strongest relationships aren't built on absence of conflict, but on ability to navigate conflict with virtue. If this video helped you take back control of your life, leave a comment below sharing which strategy resonated most with you. Your insight might be exactly what another viewer needs to succeed in their own relationships. And remember to subscribe for more Stoic wisdom that builds mental strength and practical resilience. As Seneca, a great Stoic thinker, once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Every relationship, like every life, has its difficulties, but by using Stoic wisdom, you can get past them and have the relationships you want. Start now and start creating the good life today.